And we are back on the Zero Hour. In this segment, we'll be talking with my good friend Ernie Powell, who is, in his current role, is co-founder of a new organization called Senior Votes Count. Ernie started his career working with Cesar Chavez and the Farm Workers Union. He was grassroots national director at NCP-SSM, which is the National Committee to Protect Social Security and Medicare. He was handling public policy issues for AARP in their California office as senior advocacy manager for quite a while. He's been an activist for a while. He's a great guy, good friend of the show, and we're glad to have him back. Ernie, how are you doing?
Richard, so good to hear your voice and so good to be on your show.
Well, and
I'm doing well.
Glad to hear it. And you're doing well, and you're doing some work, too, and we want to hear about it. You have a new organization you're involved with called Senior Votes Count. Tell us about that, if you would.
Senior Votes Count is an organization that will unique from all other senior advocacy groups because what it will do is become intricately involved in congressional and Senate races by endorsing candidates and campaigning very proactively for those candidates. And the candidates we intend to endorse, we will endorse, will be people who are just straight up in support of Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. They will need to oppose any and all ideas of privatization, cuts to those programs, using Social Security, funding around the deficit. We will be opposing ideas such as Simpson Bowles and other bad ideas. And so the candidates that we endorse and actively raise money for, actively help to get volunteers for, and use our collective voice as older voters will be those candidates that have those kinds of ideas and platforms. And it stands apart from most other senior organizations. ARP, as you indicated, I worked with ARP for 19 years, is a good advocacy group, but they are nonpartisan. During the election cycle, they present both sides, and they have voter guides and candidate forms. We will take a different approach. We will proactively look for good candidates. We like to call ourselves, we will be modeled very much after a very successful organization that fights on behalf of women's issues, Emily's List, and they actively recruit and secure good candidates for their issues around reproductive rights and other good issues for women. So we're just getting off the ground. We have not formally rolled out. We have a website that is literally a week old. It's www.seniorvotescount, and we're very excited and very enthused.
Well, that's great. And you know, what's interesting about this to me is, as you know, because we've talked about this, we've both seen a lot of the polling on issues like Social Security and Medicare. And in any given election year, I think probably, especially for off-year congressional elections, but in every election, these issues, this is an organization of senior voters to maximize, as I understand it, to maximize the impact of senior voters and the issues they care about. But those same issues are issues that the entire electorate cares about. And so if you're pushing people, for example, to expand Social Security benefits rather than cut them, to protect Medicare benefits and so on, you're really pushing candidates who, whatever fundraising challenges they may have or whatever, they're more likely to be adopting positions that are popular with the electorate, I would say. Am I onto something?
By very solid numbers. Yes, you are. Yes, you are, Richard. And by very solid numbers, the public supports Social Security, and they support the expansion of Social Security. The public supports Medicare. The public supports Medicaid, including the expansion of Medicaid in those states that have chosen not to go along with the Affordable Care Act and expand the coverage for Medicaid. And so those are the standards by which we will work and the standards by which we will recruit and support candidates and oppose those that disagree with those ideas. And as you said, the public, I mean, I've seen many polls, in recent years that say that the public is solid on that. So what we intend to do is just move that bar. Make sure that people over the age of 65 who vote in higher percentages are aware of our endorsed candidates' positions, and then work to get out the vote the very, very important, one of the very important factors in senior votes count is that not only we will be very proactive, we will train speakers bureaus in target districts and target states on the issues within the context of a campaign. We will equip voters with as many good messages by studying the polling numbers and developing really solid, succinct, and to-the-point messages for people who are fighting for certain candidates. So, yeah, it's consistent with what the public wants across the board, and we're very excited about this. We go ahead. I'm
sorry to cut in, but and so you're going to be helping candidates with messaging and with, I assume, money. And
right.
I guess my question for you is, next question for you is, are you going to get involved in primaries as well as general elections?
Not at this stage. California just finished its primary literally this week, and of course other states have. At this stage, we don't anticipate that. We're going to be working in a select set of races in 2014 for the general election, and then as we grow and as we build, we'll see how we can expand our engagement. But that's sort of an open question at this stage.
All right, well, that's fair enough. But where I come from is I like to see some primary challenges to people who are ostensibly Democrats but aren't fighting for Social Security. But hey, that's just me. And so I know people can go to seniorvotes.com to learn more about this initiative. But just in our last 30 seconds or so, what are you guys going to do to communicate the message about this program and try to recruit membership?
Well, anyone who contributes can be a member, or anyone who signs up to get on our mailing list or our email list can be a member. And you can do that by going to www.seniorvotescount.com. We encourage people to do that. The site, as I said, is up for less than a week, and it's still in development, but it's there, and we want to use it as an early means to build. We're also going to be doing house meetings, public forums in all over the country, and recruiting volunteers and spokespersons as we're growing, as we build. So people really like this idea, and we're excited about this opportunity.
Well, and I like the idea too, so we'll have to have you back on to talk to us more about it. Ernie Powell, activist organizer, talking about Senior Votes Count. Ernie, thanks so much for joining us.
My pleasure, and thank you, Richard.
I'm Richard RJ Eskow, and we will be right back after this on the Zero Hour.